Romans 6 verse 2. Since we've died to sin, how can we continue to live in it? This verse really gives me a lot of problems. Does it you? Do you remember that film? I've forgotten actually what it's called. Maybe Apollo 13. You know, the spaceship goes wrong, and they have to calculate how to get back to Earth. You remember? And if they get their calculations a slight bit wrong, they miss Earth and die, and head off into the grim yonder. And you know, there's the famous line that comes from it. It says, "Houston, we have a problem." Well, without wishing to trivialize this, it's like human. We have a problem, and the problem is this business of sin. Sin. It's a life and death problem, and if you get it wrong, you're heading for the grim yonder just as surely as the guys in the spaceship. The sin in your life, I'm speaking to people who are believers, who are following Jesus. The sin in your life is a problem. The sin in my life is a big problem. There's only a number of solutions to this. You can A, get used to it, B, pretend it isn't a problem, or C, keep getting forgiven. And Paul has this wonderful phrase in verse 2. He says, "Me genoito." No way. So what do I do? It strikes me that you're stuck between being a slob or a hypocrite. You know, a slob gets used to the dirt. I saw this program on TV. I've forgotten. It was called something like The Filth Files, you know, and basically they were looking behind people's fridges with a magnifying glass. That they'd probably not need a magnifying glass behind my fridge, and seeing and showing you how disgusting it was. So you could just get used to the sin in your life. You could pretend it didn't matter that much. You know, like kids going around barefoot, just getting used to dirt, getting used to the dirt in your life, getting used to swearing, getting used to lying as a matter of course, getting used to anger as a way of letting off steam whenever you felt like it. Many people just do that. Generally, Christians try a little harder. But the one that creates more issues for me is when you pretend it isn't a problem. You know, and this is the skeleton in the closet routine, where you just keep shoving on this, "Hey, good morning, how are you? I'm fine. Are you fine? I'm fine." You know, and then all of a sudden there's this, not only grief, but darkness, like buried away. A hypocrite, a slob, or the only other alternative really is a chronic failure, somebody who just keeps on repenting and getting forgiven. And say, "Oh Lord, I'm sorry, I've done it wrong again. Oh, I've done it wrong again." Somehow that doesn't satisfy either. And Paul says, "Shall we continue in sin?" He says, "No." Well, what's his answer? Paul's answer is to say, you have to die. You have to die. And that's the whole theological background of the practice of baptism, is a death to the old way of life. And if you've died to something, you're no longer responsive to the pull, to the desires. If you're a corpse, you don't respond to somebody kicking you on the leg. You're out of it. And he says baptism is like the end of the old way of life and the beginning of a new, and that it means the death to sin. It means something has died within me, so I don't respond to the pull of sin anymore. You see, this is the key point. We are not designed for sin. And so if we continue in sin, then we become confused and compromised and controlled. And the thing that we submit to, we're controlled by. The thing that we're compromised by reduces our effectiveness to just be truthful, to be real human beings. And we're confused because the life of a hypocrite man is really confusing. Take it from me. I think that God's saying to us, do you remember that bit in The Lion King where the lion cub looks into the little muddy pool and he sees the ghost of his dead father, and in a voice like Winston Churchill it says to him, "Simba, remember who you are." That wasn't very good really, was it? But God is speaking to us and he's saying, remember who you are. Remember what I called you from. Remember what I brought you to. Live your life as you really are. Dead to sin, alive to righteousness. On another post I'll talk about how that is achieved through the Holy Spirit. That comes into chapters 7 and 8 in Romans. But here, it's just a recognition that without that recognition of sin, we're in deep trouble. Happy day.